Hey, it's me, Puppet DM, and I'm here to tell you all about the sponsors we have here at the Wandering Society. We're sponsored here by Mage Hand Press, makers of a bunch of 5th edition supplements, like the Book of Kobold or their series of new classes. And don't forget, Arcmada, the amazing sci-fi fantasy campaign setting for the world's greatest role-playing game. Be sure to check them out at store.mageandpress.com. Up next, we have Roll20. It's the platform we use here at the Wandering Society to play all of our games. It's easy to use, intuitive, and it now comes with Dark Mode. Be sure to check them out at roll20.net. We're also sponsored by our Talsorian Games. Our Talsorian Games make great RPGs, and they've been doing so since the early 90s. Check their books. They've got Cyberpunk Red, which Simon tells me has been played here extensively, Castle Falkenstein, which also has been played here, and The Witcher, which has also been. Okay, we get it! Check them out at your FLGS or online at rtalsoriangames.com. Have you ever wanted to wake up and smell the coffee? Well, now you can with this next sponsor, Found Familiar. Get yourself some damn good coffee at foundfamiliar.com and use the code on the screen to get 15% off. What do you mean I can't drink coffee? What the fuck is felt? And we couldn't end this segment without talking about our good friends at Die Hard Dice. That's right. As a Dice affiliate, we are proud to partner with Die Hard Dice to bring you only the best in shiny click-clacks. Click-clacks? What is... Ow. You can check their ever-growing collection over at dieharddice.com and use the link below to get 15% off. You're putting this all on me? I better get a cut.
Wabam! Hello, everyone. Where's the faces? Where's the faces? There we go. Hello, welcome. It is Saturday, and we are playing Scion. I'm Simon. I use he him pronouns. I'm wondering the MLB, the storyteller for this game. But before we go back into the action, or maybe the mystery as to where we were, let's just go around the table, introduce our cast of glorious deities. Let's do the order that we logged in. So we'll start with Robert.
All right, I'm Hawkeye, or Kentucky Hawkeye, and I will be playing Finbar, son of Ogma.
Next we have Lynn.
Hey everyone, I'm Lynn, Shive, and today I'll be playing Dihiga, daughter of Inari, she, her.
And Renee.
Hi, I'm Renee, and when Simon said, "Where are the faces?" I'm not sure mine will ever be visible today because this light is so dang bright. Hi, I'm playing Morning, daughter of the Morrigan, and I'm so excited to be back with this amazing group of players.
And lastly, Hannah.
I am Hannah, she, her, and in this game I am playing Kieran Kearney, he, him, son of Loki.
And we're back to playing Scion. But before we jump back to where we were, I believe we did skip a phone conversation last time that we will get into. But first, let's just recap where we were a little bit, shall we? A few sessions ago, the Godlings learned about the existence of... sorry. Whoa. A divine net. A sort of prison that kept the world of mortals separate from the world of the divine, which explains the absence of a lot of the gods and a lot of the titans over the ages. Your rivals, I guess, question mark? Another group of Scion wanted to absolutely tear down this net. Not tear it down, sorry, opposite. Reinforce it. And prevent any contact between the two realms together. It would create a lot of issues. There was... It got to a physical confrontation. And after the dust settled, you went your separate ways and had, I believe, an extensive conversation at Winnie's apartment about what were you going to do, knowing that the anchors to this net lie in the underworld. And that so long as it is there, danger exists for both mortals, but also for, let's call them ex-mortals, as you have seen in the Irish underworld, in the garden where it was attacked by Fomori's, which means that there's a way to cross underworlds and to travel between each one of them. Something that shouldn't necessarily be possible. There's so many unknown variables at this point, but I would like to ask you players, could you remind us what your plan is right now? And what are you doing in Chicago?
I forget, did we bring Midnight along? Did we figure out how to make that happen? Yeah,
Yes,
okay, cool.
We brought
Great.
Midnight in the jet
Yeah.
with us.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
we
right.
We chartered a jet that had had space.
That had space, kind of like what they use for like the Derby, for like when they bring horses from Saudi Arabia over to Louisville for the Kentucky Derby and all
The
that. We wanted
unicorn
to
grade
get similar to
jet.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. I mean, I think things have been pretty tense with this group, and it's fair to kind of call that back a little bit. Our group is pretty torn on what is the right thing to do here. And we were I feel like we're just kind of going through the motions a little bit of like what we feel like is within our control
Mm-hmm.
and seeing where that gets us.
We're also needing to check with the other 2 known Scions that are on the globe that we haven't met yet. And depending on what happens with those, their involvement, their knowledge, it might influence what we determine our final action to be. And who knows, they may end up joining with us or joining against us or being neutral. We don't know, but we know we
That's true.
need to get in contact with these 2 others. One we know is in Chicago, and that's the one we're visiting right now. And the other one is reportedly in Old Mother Russia.
Yeah, you think it might have been St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg. Oof.
That was the last info we had was at St. Petersburg, but
Yeah.
that would be the first place for us to start from there. But
Mhm.
first, we're in the Windy City.
Yep. And you are in the Windy City and you chartered that jet and all that because of a conversation between Kieran and Isda. There were some unanswered questions after the talk at Winnie's. And you figured the only person that could probably potentially give you answers was Loki. And that's where we're going to pick up with a sort of flashback to that convo. To
Good luck.
paint the scene, you are in Niantic at a not in Niantic, you are in New York City because you were trying to find like one of the last remaining
I had to
payphones.
leave the city to find a payphone.
Yeah. And so you went to New York City where there is still a few payphones out there. Of course, they don't really work, but you don't need that. You don't need them to work. You don't need them to be connected to a landline anymore. And so you inserted your coin in the slot, dialed the number, and Loki picked up. Hey, buddy.
Hey, Da. It's good to hear from you. Listen, I got a couple of questions. I thought maybe you could help me out with them. You know, being my dad and all, having all the answers.
I am kind of busy at the moment, but look.
Too busy for your sweet little boy.
Look. Just tell me what you want to know. I'll see if I can help. I have a feeling that I might not be as helpful as you think I will.
Oh, don't sell yourself short until you know if you have the answers or not. But there's something that we've been sort of bumping up against lately. Just a little bit of a problem, you know. It's I don't. You might even not have heard of it. It's a thing that's called maybe like a god net, like a net for gods around the earth.
Like the internet?
Like no. Is there an internet for gods?
Kind of. We don't really need to use computers for it, but yeah.
I want to hear about that later. But no, this is more like a physical, like a fisherman's net that's around the earth that's keeping you in or out or It's like made of energy.
Yeah. I know what you're referring to.
Yeah. All right. So we've been hearing some stuff about it lately, and we're just a little bit curious because this is a brand new thing that we're hearing and learning about. And so I just had a couple of questions for you, if maybe you knew anything about that. Like,
Kieran, I'm gonna stop you right there.
yeah.
What you're talking about is very dangerous. I don't know that you want to meddle with it.
Well, meddling is one of my favorite things.
I would hate to lose my favorite son because he decided to poke the electric fence, as it were.
Ah, well, I, I, as much as I appreciate the sentiment, maybe you give me some information that I could use to avoid being electrocuted. Maybe some godly rubber gloves or something, if that's something that you could send down. Or
I'm all out of rubber gloves, but I guess I can muster an answer or two if it means that you're not going to do anything stupid.
Oh, I would never. You underestimate me. So, I was just wondering, as I do, because a lot of the gods that we've talked to and people we've talked to about the gods say that they are either extremely limited or boxed out altogether or boxed in altogether by this god net. But it seems that you don't have that same issue. Is there a reason why you don't seem to be
Are you accusing me of prison breaking?
No, I would never accuse you of anything.
Yeah, because I didn't raise no snitch.
No. You didn't raise me at all.
You wound me, son. You wound me.
Well, that would never be my intent. I'm merely trying to learn from your knowledge, as you have so much of it to offer. As my favorite.
So what makes you think I can go through the net?
Well, you've never shown or given any indication that you seem to be in any way limited by it in your movements or your powers or any of that kind of stuff. Is that maybe I'm wrong?
Who told you that?
No, just nobody.
Okay, you all of a sudden became interested in my ability to slip in and out because that would make me special. Is that what you want, Kieran? Do you just want to be special by association?
No, I'm just trying to learn information about the Godnet because I think it might be helpful to us in our, larger research and learning about things about ourselves as the children of gods. It seems important.
Well, to put it straight, I'm not the only one. I mean, I figure your friends are crowded around the telephone as we speak.
No.
We're like outside pretending acting completely normal. But it's a glass booth. Like we don't have our ears pressed up to the
Oh, is it a glass booth? I assumed it was just like on the street. There's like cars honking in the background.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a
I
glass
had no
booth,
idea.
and I think we've to distract away from that. I think we had morning and midnight doing some posing and stuff like that to try to distract away
Yes.
from the. Why is this strange person actually using it to pay telephone?
It's
fine.
this weird like Art Nouveau type of performance right now happening. Loki continues and says, you know, your friends, were also visited by their divine parent.
Yeah.
Which means they too can go in and out.
But they specifically mentioned that they were limited in some way by the net, and that they were either trapped outside or inside due to the limitations of the net, and you seem to have no such trouble.
Well, maybe the god of cunning is wiser than those who built the prison.
So that's your whole answer, is just you're smarter than the guy who made the god net. That's it?
Aye. That's it.
So, okay. Well, then clearly, if you know how to slip in and out of it, because you're so smart, do you know what happens if it comes down? Or if it stays up, or if it gets fixed and becomes stronger than before? What happens?
It needs to stay.
And why is that?
Do you... I don't think you've been to school much. How much do you know of human history?
I know that it's we started in Africa.
Okay. Brief History 101, son. A lot of legends that humans seem to half remember are actually true. A lot of things happened. A lot of bad things happened to humanity because of the hubris or the ego of the gods.
Sure.
As the world got smaller, conflict between not just individual gods but entire pantheons began to arise. And that, from what I've been told, threatened to destroy the world. And, well, without a world, the gods aren't really all that powerful anymore. They are not. They depend on humanity.
Sure.
And so someone thought it would be a good idea to just encase mortals in a bubble. Kind of like a glass house that we can look at, but we can't intervene. The longer it stays up, however, the less power we have, the less influence we have over the world, the more people begin to think that we never existed. We were never there to begin with. Plagues and drought and floods and disease and victories and war and all that were attributed to purely mundane causes. Even though most of these mundane causes were actually started by the divine. It's a strange ecosystem, your world.
So does that mean if the wall goes up and is fixed, that we'll lose our powers as well?
Maybe? Maybe not. You're on the other side of the wall. I don't know exactly what's gonna happen. I know that if the net is repaired, then the separation between the mundane and the divine is going to widen up until we on this side will not be able to do anything for you on the other side. And last I checked, you kind of needed a bit of divine intervention lately.
Well, sure, but we're getting better.
Yeah. What was his name? Fujin? Raijin?
Raijin.
Yeah, but the two brothers actually made it through. And Raijin was a problem. From what I recall, it destroyed your favorite hangout. The spot, the bar or something.
Yeah, but wouldn't they not be able to make it through either if the net was fixed? Would you still be able to make it through if the net was fixed?
As incredible as your die is, no, I wouldn't.
So nothing would be able to get through.
On either side. Which means that if something slips in before it's repaired, you're only going to have yourselves to fix it. See, that's where things are a little complicated. For the longest time, the net held. And it prevented either side from affecting the other. Over time, something decided to poke at it until it poked a hole through. Slipped through. And then more of us did so.
Something poked at it? Do you have any idea what it was?
There's a plethora of beings in the overworlds. It could be anyone. Or anything. But if you ask me, I would rather trust that you and your friends can deal with whatever is on your side of the net. And that the net be fixed ASAP.
Do you think you'll ever come here physically before we close the net?
Why, do you want a hug or something?
I don't know. Would be nice.
I mean, I could. I guess I could. It's just
these
a
things-
lot of effort.
these calls, though, these will also stop once the net is fixed.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll revoke my visitation card.
So we're just alone then.
Well, you got friends, right, Kieran?
Oh, yeah, of course I have friends.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Then you'll have your friends. If you
Sure.
decide to do the opposite, which I do not suggest, it's about a millennia's worth of conflict that'll happen all at once. Humans are going to be the only casualty.
So if we rip down the net instead of fixing it, we'll basically cause the apocalypse.
Yep.
That is that's certainly an outcome for sure. It's not what I expected. None of this. But
Can you give me just a second? I'm sorry. So cat keeps calling me.
my dog's putting me on hold.
I've been running around my cats. I let my cats in here with me now because I feel better with them. But
Mhm.
also, that means there's the potential, much more potential for chaos in the background of me having to be like, oh, wait, hold on. Got him. Cat, what are you doing? Cat. Like, oh,
Truth.
Hawkeye, we can't hear you. You're
Oh.
muted.
Oh, you're muted.
That's why having this as being the only pet in the house makes things a lot easier.
That's fair.
All the cuteness, none the chaos.
Yeah. That or this little critter that I won off of someone's stream once.
Is that the fox from Tunic?
I don't know where it's from,
Oh,
but I
it's
won it
so
off of a
cute.
stream that Salty Ginger did. So
Oh, cute.
That is very cute.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Bless you, Len.
So Loki's no more on hold.
Okay.
Where were we? What were we saying?
I saying that I would that's not the outcome that I expected to happen from those two differing things, and there's no middle ground. There's nothing we can do that would allow every so often us to be able to see our divine parents or interact with the world that we came from in any way, shape, or form. It's all or nothing. It's the apocalypse or silence. That's it.
There might be a third way.
I'm listening.
It's a little more complicated.
Okay.
You could alter the nature of the net. It's something that even I wasn't able to do. So I don't know how you could, but say you can. You could choose the rules. You could decide what makes it through, what doesn't. But but you will also have to contend with the ire of all the divine being gods and titans that you cross doing so.
How do we do that?
It's a little complicated. Do you have a way to take notes? Because this is going to be very important.
Do I?
don't think-
I got my notes app here.
Okay. The net is like a divine, a living entity. More or less. It's not sentient. It doesn't have any intelligence, but it
How do
has
you
a genetic code, if you will. It exists through divine essence. A lot of it. A lot of gods made a lot of sacrifices to have it up and working.
Divine essence, that's the thing that you can get by killing other godlings, yeah?
Wow, Kieran,
I did-
really? This is where your mind goes.
No,
Immediately to
I'm
killing.
trying to learn, duh!
Disappoint me,
Is there
son.
another way?
Yes, essence can be given freely. Who told you that you needed to sacrifice? People, was it Odin?
No, I haven't talked to Odin. Do you have like a coin that I can use to contact Odin? Is that something that you can?
No, and I would not want you to contact him. He's
Okay.
a bad influence. He's, yeah, no good.
Says the god of chaos. All right.
He's also my dad. I know what I'm talking about. You haven't lived an eternity stuck with
You
them.
are not allowed to talk to your grandfather.
Yeah, we don't talk about Grandpa. And we don't talk to Grandpa. And anyway, Odin wouldn't use a coin and a phone because he's too much of a god boomer to understand how phones work.
Eh.
You'd have to send him a raven or some shit. Divine essence can be given freely. It doesn't hurt, but it changes you. It alters your very nature.
It's not something that we can like collect in a vial of some sort, something that we have to absorb into our own being.
Oh, you can do that by murdering other divine beings, yes.
Which one? Wait, hold on.
If you wanted to just stockpile essence,
Yeah.
that's the murder route, Kieran.
Oh. So if we absorb essences freely given from other divine beings, can we then unabsorb them to put them into the god net and change the DNA of the god net?
Yes, but that means that you will have to commit despicable acts of ritual killings to get other people's essence.
But wait, you just said it was freely given.
No,
You
it's
said if it was freely given, you could like absorb it.
it can be freely
then-
given to the net.
Oh, to the net.
Yes.
Okay.
Not, I should have specified, not to another being. At least I've never met any god who out of the kindness of their heart, decided to give away part of themselves to someone else.
So then how does the net know that it's us who are, telling these people to give their essence to the net so that we can change its very nature?
The net doesn't care. It's just going to take the essence. It's like injecting new DNA. It's just... Suppose you were to inject your own essence. You have a modicum of control over what you give. And what you want the net to take out of it. It's sort of complicated, and he would go into like an explanation of divine ichor and fate rewriting. It lasts like a good 10 minutes of him just speaking very quickly. But
yeah, I'm no longer taking written notes. I'm just recording at this point.
The gist of it is this. Imagine if when you fuel the net, you sort of make a wish.
Mm-hmm.
And that wish becomes reality. So long as it only pertains to the net, right? So you could be like, oh, I wish that only the gods of the Egyptian pantheon can go through.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, I wish that mortal souls can't go through.
Okay.
And you could tweak it like that. But it depends a lot on what you give it as an essence. Essentially, those gods who have purview over chaos and change, so even like shape-shifting gods and all that, they would have an easier time. If not, they would be the only one who could do it. Others can influence the net, but in the way that their purview allows them to do it. And in essence, what happens is when you give that essence away, you lose that purview forever. So if you're a god, it's going to affect your entire personality. You're not going to be the same god coming out of it than you were going in. Loki has no idea what would happen to a Scion, because he's never ever tried or ever told one of his children to fucking touch the electric fence.
Do you want to touch it?
Of course I want to touch it.
Yeah.
All right, that was a extremely productive conversation with minimal insults. That was pretty good.
Yes, well, I felt when you were calling there was some urgency in your voice.
Yeah.
I thought you were about to die, that's why.
Oh, is that the only time you love me? When I'm about to die?
No, it's just, want to make sure that
It's fine. It's okay.
it's not going to work on me, Kieran.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
I invented the playbook.
All right, well.
There's
now we
one
know.
more thing you need to know.
What?
The people that made the net. They call themselves the Band of 12.
It's 12.
12 deities
Okay.
who have a vested interest in making sure that humans and mortals, he would say, and divine no longer interacts.
12 deities who no longer want the world to interact with deities.
Yep. None of us know who they are. It's complete secrecy. Probably because they would suffer dire consequences if they were found.
Well, how are we supposed to find them then?
Oh, I don't think you need to find them. All I'm saying is, here's who you're going to piss off the moment you start toying with their precious
Okay, so
net.
this is just like a vague look out. Like, watch out, son.
Yeah, well, if you thought
Or
Raijin was an
what? I don't
issue,
know.
well, if you thought Raijin was an issue, I mean, you're going to piss off 12 people that are way more powerful than the Thunder.
Okay, well, I've pissed off more than 12 people in my lifetime, so this is nothing new. This is all good information. I mean, we will see what we can do with it, I guess. Thanks, Da.
You're welcome. Just don't go poking the electric fence.
You know me better than that.
Which is why I know you're going to poke the electric fence. And he hangs up with a disappointed sigh.
Kieran will hang up as well. So, if we close the thing completely, then we're cut off from all the gods. We don't know what'll happen to our powers. Anything that's already here will be trapped in here with us, and we'll have to deal with it on our own. Basically. If we break the whole thing down, then it causes the apocalypse. It's not really much of a option in that regard, but there's also a third option wherein we might be able to change the nature of the net so that we could control what it does and who it lets through.
Change its nature. How?
Well, he said that by injecting essences of immortal beings into the net's DNA, basically, we can change the nature of the net to whatever sort of essence we inject into it. He, gave some vague implications of what would be the best option for injecting into the net to get it to do what we want it to do. And I think we're gonna have to murder a trickster god.
What?
What?
I mean he said that a trickster chaos god was the one who would best be able to alter the net to be the nature that we need it to be, so that we can control who can go through and who is kept out. And I don't know any chaos or trickster gods who would willingly give up that piece of themselves. Do you?
No.
Would it have to be a trickster god, or could it be someone else? Like they say, somebody who was along the side of the intelligent and the wise to be able to discern.
I think that would count. I think that's in the same ballpark, as it were, as a trickster god. You got somebody in mind, then?
I've got some ideas, I'll put it that way.
I don't know many trickster gods.
The only ones that I know of, to be quite frank, are you and your father, Kieran. At least the only ones that we've encountered anyway. I'm sure all pantheons have their version of it, but I don't know if we've met any others.
Maybe not a trickster god then, but somebody, with that sort of
That's what
je ne sais quoi.
And giving up the essence means dying?
Well, no, not necessarily, but it means losing it forever. Which,
Right. So we take it if we murder someone,
right,
but they could give it willingly and survive.
they
And
could, yeah, but they'd
Mhm.
lose that part of themselves forever. It would fundamentally change them.
yeah.
I see. Well, that could be an interesting option.
I mean, we don't know who these other godlings are yet.
That's true.
Now, normally
Worth
this is
finding 'em.
where the group would have split. There's a whole kerfuffle about the private jet. But we'll just rewrite that little part.
Yeah, Hannah, since you weren't here last time, we sent Kieran on a jet. Or we we had some debate over whether Kieran got to take the private jet or we got to take the private jet
Mhm.
with Space for Midnight, and made Kieran fly out of JFK.
Okay, so you booted me from my own jet so that you could take the horse. Is that what you're
jet? Our jet.
I thought it was we had her take Uber back to
I
Name.
took an Uber.
No, I don't remember the exact agreement we settled on, but that was one of the things that was suggested was making clear.
'Cause you can do
Kieran
it off
fly
of her
coach,
expense
which was
account.
very fun. Yeah.
It was a lot of logistical issues. It was fun. But if we need to rewrite it
We
so
don't have to
that...
rewrite it. I'll take an Uber.
No, I think the implication is if you want to come with us this time, because we
Yeah.
like since you weren't here, we were giving Kieran an out.
Okay.
But if we all just want to take the jet to Chicago, I think that works.
Yeah, let's just take the jet.
Yeah.
All right. So any conversation you might have, any scene you want to have among the four of you, you can have it on the jet. And then when
I
you're ready,
do-
we're going to, flash forward back to Chicago.
I do also want to say that Simon handled the role play for that very well and reacted basically how you just did to all of us being like, no, we're going to take the jet. There are three of us and one of you. So, very good.
So because I sort of like butted into your conversation, but if you want to have anything, let me know. Otherwise, we'll flash forward.
What Finbar would be talking about, but he would probably spend a bunch of the flight trying to do what research he can on the fly through whatever electronic media he has with him on Divine Essence.
You want to try to find something on the what is it you're looking for on the Vine?
Just trying to get better knowledge of what it is and how it's handled and manipulated.
Could you give me, because that might take a longer. Okay, we'll do it on as a longer skill check, right? As
Sure. That's fine.
You would need a total of 15 successes in intellect and occult.
Okay.
And so we'll say in the narrative, every check you make will take you a day.
Okay, sounds good.
And it's basically spending all of your free time researching, reading. Because of course, you can read and absorb knowledge way quicker than any normal human could.
Right.
Unless there's a... Let me just look up your casual miracles real quick.
Let's see. Oh, I've got to pull those up.
Because, yeah, y'all can do that.
All right, where's that word file?
Finbar. No, there's a lot of things about artwork. There's a lot of thing about punting a soccer ball into space.
Come on, where's my science?
Plants and stuff. No, unfortunately, there's
Demigod notes. Here we go. Let's see. Artistry, epic strength, and wild. Yeah, really nothing on that side.
Okay. Then yes, it would be the 15 successes.
Okay. All right, I'll go ahead and do my first roll now then, if that's okay.
That
Good
is
start.
5 success. So you can make your other rolls right away. That way we'll know like how long it's going to take you.
How many ticks? Okay. 7.
2 days. 3 days.
That's what?
That's 11. Yeah.
Okay, 4 days.
So 4 days, you're good. So this is 1 out of 4 that we've checked out. So during the whole flight and any time that you're not like active in a scene, essentially you're on your phone, doing the thing.
Right.
Searching, looking through your Bard app, and all of that. Awesome. Then we'll flash forward to you landing in Chicago and making your way to this very, very unassuming toy store. I don't know if you remember the description that I gave for it, but for anyone who wasn't there, it's in Jackson Land in Chicago, and it's this sort of old, mostly closed strip mall. Right? Is it a strip mall? Is that what we call? Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
An old strip mall
Storefront
where
strip mall.
where the facade of these stores are all like brick with big windows that are like covered with either like iron bars or this like metal like grill over it. Many of the places are shut down permanently. Except that one place. And oh, did I give it? I think the name in front is just like, it's not just toy shop. I might have lost the name. Uh-oh. Anyway, there's a sign. I'm going to find the info at some point. Apologies for this. But when you entered the store, which doesn't look like all that from the exterior, it's like a mix between a hobby shop and just a toy store that isn't like a major retailer. And inside, when you entered, are these rows upon rows of toys. But not just any toy. Every toy that has ever existed can be found on those shelves. It's to the point where you, as demigods, can see through the sort of... I don't want to say it's an illusion, because it's not. It feels like it would be nefarious, but it's more like the magic, the space-bending magic of the place that could potentially make it so that a mortal that comes in without knowing what they're looking for could get lost in those infinite rows and never come out of the store. You, as powerful divine beings, you can see the end of those rows. You can see the far wall of the shop, the store. But you can immediately feel what it would be like if you were to, quote-unquote, turn off your senses. It's a little dusty. It's a little unkempt. Like, this person whoever is in charge or whoever works here has so much work to do that they can't handle everything. And you can hear coming from the back store, at least from beyond the back wall, this sort of constant buzzing. And because of your divine senses, I need to get the smell. It's gonna take a second. Nax. It smells like rum and tobacco. And under this like buzzing, droning that comes from the back store, you can hear the beat of drums. And we're gonna take a break. That way I can handle the kitty situation in back of me, and we'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes, everyone.
I get it.
And we're back. Hello. And you, my dear godlings, are back in the toy shop. Store thing. Before break, we've described what you saw, the rows of toys, what you heard, the buzzing of the bees, the drum beats, and what your divine senses smelled. Tobacco and rum.
We follow the scent, I guess.
Yeah.
I left midnight outside, probably obvious, but I did, as always, bring big sword. And
Okay.
I think Morning is probably side-eyeing some of like the creepier toys, because you know if there's every toy in here. Some of them are pretty dang creepy.
Yeah. There's a good section that is just nightmare fuel for a while. There's a good section that is also very, very old toys. We're talking more or less just like small statuettes.
These are just illusions, though. These are not actual toys.
Do you pick one up?
Yes.
It is real.
How old are these toys?
At a glance, it depends. Some of them, I mean, if you look, let's say, at a, because you not being mortal, you can almost just move, quote unquote, the shelves to what you want to see. If you wish to see the oldest toys, you would be faced with a shelf full of these little figurines carved out of limestone or wood. Some of them primitively dyed with maybe like a berry or something that was smushed on it to try to give it some color in places. Some of them are carved out of ivory. Some just look like rocks. Those are the oldest you can see. And looking at them, you figure these are, you know, several thousands of years old. They're the type of, you know, that action figure that came out on the internet that I want to say it was Aztec. I might be mistaken. That had the little like removable helmet that was found on a archaeological dig.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, well, that thing is there. Like
I think, yeah.
it's part of it. So you can definitely, I mean, unless Kieran has powers of carbon dating at a glance.
Let me check my miracles
only.
real quick.
So we can
Is
see
there, like-
things like old corn husk dolls and stuff like that here in this section and everything.
Yep. It seems to span the entirety of human history. And some that you're not quite sure, like those weird rocks, they have like a vague shape. Like you could say that a cloud has a shape. Like, oh, it reminds me of a bear. You look at the rock and you're like, it reminds me of a bear, but that's as far as it goes. And then as you progress, you start seeing these details on them. The one thing that seems to be missing, though, is religious iconography. So you know how you would have often the like the pregnant woman statue? That one's not there. Probably because it wasn't used as a toy
Yeah, it's
for
not a toy.
by children.
An item of worship rather than a plaything.
There's a section that's like just toy horses. Just bunch
Any
of them.
unicorns?
Once you get to like the 1600s and later, it starts popping up a bit more. You would notice also that most of these toys are intact.
Mint condition.
Yeah, mint condition. They're not weathered like one you would find in an archaeological dig. They've been preserved. Again, you can see all of this because you're not mortal. You know going through the shelf that what you see is exactly what you want to see. You don't have to get lost in the labyrinth to find anything. And so you quickly get to the back of the store where you notice there are these two revolving doors that lead to presumably a warehouse behind, but that's where the buzzing comes from. It's these I don't know what they're made of. It's like plastic and rubber, I guess. The doors have this like little like rubber guard at the bottom to make sure that you can just like pull a trolley through and not damage the door or anything. And they have these circular like plastic windows in the middle to look in the back. They're dirty and grimy, but you can peer into the back store if you wanted before opening the door. Otherwise, they don't have any handle. Like it's just a revolving door. You just push and go through, or like a saloon door, I guess. What do y'all do?
Go through.
Through.
When you step through the doors, you would notice the warehouse is a lot wider than the store is, and a lot taller. The store's ceiling was maybe 9-10 feet tall at most.
Mhm.
We're talking like this place is like 3 stories high. It's a little dark. There's a few lights, but not that many. There's a lot of machinery, conveyor belts, printers maybe, you're not quite sure, wrapping machine. They're all offline. But they span those 3 floors, those 3 stories, and the rest of the width of the back store. The buzzing that you heard is the buzzing of just so many bees. And we're not talking small honeybee. We're talking honeybee that are about the size of a coconut each. And they carry in their little paws, their little legs, toy parts.
Their little bee paws.
And they just fly like swarms and clouds, bringing pieces on some of the offline conveyor belts with others. And as you look, you know, they are crafting action figures, putting the pieces down, setting them down so that it's all laid out, but they're not doing the building. They're like laying everything out. There's some humming that you can hear from somewhere in the distance. And you can see through the machinery this slightly hunched dark figure. It's just doing its thing, moving about. It doesn't seem to have noticed that you've stepped in. Some of the bees almost whack you in the face as you come through, unaccustomed to having anything that breaks their routine or like their pre-established patterns of flying. That is all that you see here. If anyone wants to do anything.
Should we call out for someone?
We can see the person, like, where they are, right?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
I'm
they're
just
farther
going to
away. They're
go ahead-
probably doing something to the toys or whatever that are, like, way over on one side.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go walk over towards this person and say, "Do you have in stock a 1972 GI Joe full beard with the kung fu grip?"
Oh, yeah. Aisle 3. He answers almost reflexively and then looks up at you, a little puzzled that there's someone in the back store. How did you get here? He takes off his glasses. I'm going to show him in the Legend Keeper for players. But for those of you at home, imagine Keith David
Ooh.
wearing a in this case it's a sort of colorful pullover. Is that? No, it's a cardigan. Sorry. Colorful cardigan over what seems to be a an older dress shirt and beigeish, very stained with like paint and maybe glue and other stuff pants. He's got short hair, maybe like an inch long curly hair with streaks of white in it, and the hair, much like the pants, is dirtied up with like flecks of paint and other stuff. And he's wearing, kind of like in the picture that we see here, these like red rimmed glasses. I have sent him also the link in our chat.
There you go. Nice.
How did you get in the back store? Who are you?
Oh, we walked in. Hi.
Yeah, through the door.
Finbar Odupta, at your service.
He squints at... Dee, did you walk up with the rest of the group, or did you
Yeah.
stay? Okay.
Yeah.
So he'll squint at the four of you and sort of sniff the air a bit. You go, taps his nose. You walked through the store and got to the back store. Yes, there was a bell at the front. You could have rung it, but I guess it doesn't matter for you.
Oh, I was going to ask about the bell. I didn't. Sorry.
It's all right. We're among family, I guess.
You could say that.
I'm Baptiste St. John.
Pleasure to meet you.
Toy maker, but you probably figured that out.
What an extensive collection you have here.
Anything under the sun. Anything
Probably
you
a few
wish.
that aren't by the way it looks.
Huh?
And probably a few that aren't by the way it looks, by the extensiveness of it.
Well, many of which are just for display purposes. I don't sell them anymore. They're, in most cases, the last remaining copy.
Yeah, understandable.
So are you here looking for something? Normally, I don't get many visitors that are special.
Divine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm Morning.
Hello, and he'll turn to Kieran and D.
D.
Kieran.
We actually came to look for you.
For me. Let's talk in the store. This or my office. Yeah, let's go talk in my office. And I forgot to mention, but like the buzzing is a lot louder here than it is.
Giant bees. There's tons of giant bees.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah.
And he walks up to, so he'll bring you over to really the like further in, and it seems the more you walk that this back store is wider than the strip mall itself. Because you walk for a good 2 minutes, a solid 2 minutes through machinery, through bees. Up until you notice there is one bee that seems to be kind of resting on top of a seems like it's a shrink wrapping machine, and it has a little white hard hat on top of its little bee head. And he just approaches it and whispers something very softly to the bee. And it flies up and then begins to zigzag its way through the rest of the swarms, making a different buzzing noise. And the entirety of Batiste's workers basically tone it down. They're not as frantic. They're not as active. And he will point to another door that literally would probably be in the middle of the street if you were outside. And says, through here. And he brings you to a very... Well, if you were expecting something magical or wondrous, it's very disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just 4 white walls with a table, couple of chairs. There's a like a dresser, like a cupboard set against a wall that's got piles of papers on the one side, board games that you've never seen on the others. They look like old board games from maybe like the 30s or 40s, but they're all wrong in a way. Like Monopoly, but the O's are zeros. Like misprints, I guess, would be the case.
Fidos,
And
they
on
call
the
them in stamps.
huh?
Fidos, like they call them in stamp collecting. They're the oddballs, the misprints.
Yeah, basically. And the same thing on the other
Does he
side.
have the game that Monopoly was based off of and stolen from?
The landlord game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have it. Lovely lady that made it. On
I learned
my
that
recommendation.
fact on the internet, and it made me very sad.
Yes, well, I make stuff. I don't decide what people are going to make out of it.
Yeah, same. I just like stream, and some people make like shrines.
Adults
Does they
be
post
freaky.
pictures of these shrines?
Yeah, on Reddit.
Yeah, if you do a quick Reddit search, there are now shrines of mourning. Like, people have made little dedicated shrines of her in their, like, living room or closet or whatever. It's,
I get a bunch of prayers in my DMs too.
if we weren't playing Scion and y'all weren't divine and it actually works, it'd be fucking creepy.
Oh yeah, no, I am watching the Grumps play through a parasocial horror game right now, and I'm like, oh gosh, Morning really is just like pushing the envelope so much on everything that makes Renee like queasy. you
Uh,
know?
it's
Parasocial horror sounds like such a good genre, though. That sounds
I
like
know,
it'd be
it's-
terrifying.
there is a very quickly, there is a Japanese website where you can send prayers of death to the god of death. Anyway, it's I'll talk more about it later. It's one of those weird things you can
Cool.
see on the internet. Yeah, it's basically all women who can't divorce, so they ask the god of death to get rid of their husbands. And the
Alright.
website has a counter of how many of these husbands actually died after the prayer was, yeah.
How many?
From the video I saw, 26.
Oh.
Wow.
And
It's been going on
unlike
for
the old
years. There's
Southern
way
woman
more.
tradition-
Like, it's a very, very small number. Huh?
Unlike the old Southern women tradition where you just keep feeding them all sorts of butter and ham and fatty stuff so they die of a heart attack quicker.
Yeah, they mostly pray for them to die
Rest his
from,
heart, he lived a
like,
good life.
divine intervention. Like, accident, random heart attack, or whatever. They don't actively try to,
Yeah, mourning is like that site now. It's probably extremely concerning considering she's like mostly happy-go-lucky and has a unicorn
But
and a big
it's
sword,
true
but, you
that
know.
it gives you power and that you can do stuff in return.
Yeah.
I don't think the Death Note book is an actual thing in real life.
I mean, next time we're in Japan, you can just like pick one and just, you know what?
Death
Try
is
it out.
in mourning's purview, you know, like
Mhm.
nothing's out of the realm of possibility here.
True.
But yeah,
There
and
were
so
horseshoe marked on their back when they're.
so yeah, on the one side those like misprints, and on the other is the equivalent. It's just like a rows upon rows of display cases of, again, like mismade toys or like prototypes that never made it. They seem, actually, when you look at them, it's like a half-baked memory, like a half-formed memory. Like a thought of oh, maybe this could be a toy, but I only have like bits and parts of it figured out and the rest is sort of like a blob. That's what it resembles. Like you're
We have found
looking
the
at this
island of
person's
misfit toys.
inspiration. Huh?
We have found the island of misfit toys.
Yeah, it's less neighbor kid from Toy Story and more like these are dreams of toys. And yeah, there's a table in the middle. There's another another counter on the opposite side of where you came in. So opposite the table as well, where there's like a microwave, a coffee machine, and a cardboard plate with like a mound of these little like honey candies. And he's gonna take a chair and invite you to do the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, take a seat.
So, why do you need me again? Do you need a toy? Is that why you're here?
No, we were here to talk to you.
Since you are one of the few like us remaining on this island Earth.
I'm flattered that you sought me out, but I am just a maker of dreams. And as for being one of the few... Did you say remaining?
Yes.
What's been happening with the others? I don't like your silence.
It's because it's not necessarily good news.
Sorry.
I've been doing my thing for a while, so I might not be up to snuff with what's been happening. Care to fill me out?
Well, let me ask you this question first, and this might help elucidate things on both ends for both of us. How much contact do you have with your, shall we say, sire?
You mean my mother?
Didn't know if it was mother or father. I was not going to assume one or the other. I left it blank.
That's all right. It's kind of a complicated history.
As it appears with all of us.
Yeah. I'm it's not that I'm no longer on speaking term, it's just that I have a job to do, and I do it. And over time I realized that I like doing it. She must have asked me something ages ago, and I forgot about it. Now I just focus on what makes me happy, which is making children happy.
An admirable task, that is for sure. Well, if we were hoping that we can maintain things, that you will continue to do so. But I would be want if I didn't warn you that you might need to watch your back.
Okay, this is getting spooky. What's going on outside? I mean, I know, I keep up with news, and sometimes.
Well, as Paul Harvey used to say, we're here to tell you the rest of the story. Are you familiar with the net that surrounds this world that to block off the divine from the mundane?
The streaks across the sky?
Yes.
Yeah.
Were you aware that they are weakening?
No, but if you're here, I get the feeling that that's what's happening.
Yes, and unfortunately there's not very many ways it can be strengthened. And one of them isn't very pretty as far as we're concerned. Us as Scions.
But not restoring it does end up with the world being destroyed. So we've I would say we've been dealing with a lot of bad news recently. Part of the reason we're here is to gather information. Part of the reason we're here is to check in on others like us after what feels like has been a very trying time. And part of it is to ask for help.
I'd be happy to help. I don't know how I can. Unless you want me to build something. That's mostly what I do. Or has someone been caught in the net? Is anyone wounded? I can help with that too, but it's I mean, it's most of what I do. I'm just a toy maker. I don't know.
To be honest, Baptiste, we haven't figured out exactly what we need yet or what we're going to do. We're just gathering as much information as we can.
Going around the circuit. Okay. I thought there was some urgency. I don't deal well with urgency.
Oh, sorry.
But if it's just a wellness check, then it's just a wellness check.
Wellness check. That's a good way of putting it.
I am aware of the net. It wasn't always there, you know. It was a different time back then.
So we've been told.
It's been an interesting challenge for me to remain here all that time. Hence why you don't see me. You don't see me, you don't hear from me, and that's how I like it.
A bad experience in the past, or you just prefer to, as they say, stay in the sidelines?
I'd say that the more you put yourself out there, the more danger you're in.
True.
You've seen my store, right? You've been through the store. You might have noticed that I've been collecting things over the years, keeping them for out of nostalgia. I've been on this planet for nigh on 12,000 years now. It's always rocky. There's always danger. There's always something. Before the net was cast down, there were a lot more issues. You couldn't do anything without stepping onto the toes of someone else. Eventually, it was just preferable to hide. Do my things. Because if there's one thing that at least Mother and I saw eye to eye about, is that no one ever thinks of the children. No one ever thinks of the sick. A lot of gods think about the old, though, and often not necessarily in the best of ways. But, you know, once they pass on to the other side, then, you know, they're fine. So I prefer to focus on those who have the longest to live in the mortal realm. But, not everyone is as altruistic. Some of the gods will say that they have purview over happiness or over fun. As if there were a deity of entertainment. Anyway, the point is they cling to those things out of jealousy and ego. They don't really care about the children. They don't care about the sick. They care that those mortals think about them and give them power. They don't really want them to ease all of their sufferings, even if temporarily. So ever since the net came down, well, business has been booming. I'm not stepping on anyone's toes, and I can go about and do whatever it is I want. Save for a few things. There was this lawsuit with Coca-Cola years ago. Did you know they whitewashed me?
So I was going to ask if you were if you were the person that they converted from Saint Nicholas out of Turkey.
And I was in Turkey back then, but I was certainly not a round gentleman with just in red with a jolly beard. I traveled the world. I was everywhere. No one can travel the whole world in a night, by the way.
Thomas Noss did not do you justice at all. With
You're
his
Santa
work,
Claus.
so- Yes, you did not figure that out from what he was talking about.
No.
No.
I am legally distinct from Santa Claus because of this lawsuit.
Mm.
But I am the OG.
You're Santa Claus.
You're Santa Claus.
Ah.
Yeah.
I can see why they went with elves. Bees, giant bees are a little harder to swallow.
Oh no, I love the bees.
Oh, I used to make them all myself. It would take forever.
The bees?
The bees.
No, the toys.
toys.
So I got the bees idea. I got the bees idea from a not so great gentleman. One Mr. Ford.
I'd like to point out that Kieran and Morning like
We're
rarely
sharing
think
a brain
alike.
cell right now.
Uh-huh.
I know. They rarely think alike, but the second that we find out this guy is like Santa Claus, Kieran and Morning are on the same wavelength.
I take it. So I have to ask the question then: if you're someone inspired, who invented the assembly line? Was it you or was it him?
No, that was him.
Okay.
I do toys. I don't do ways to make money.
I like that about you. I've just met you, but I like that about you.
The landlord game.
The landlord game. This is really cool. Can I have your autograph?
Yeah, just my name.
Yeah.
Do you have a piece of paper?
Yeah, Morning pulls a notebook out of. This is something I established like way back when. That Morning's bag just like conveniently has some things that she needs, but not all the things that she needs. And so pulls out a little notebook. It's like Dollar Tree notebook with like purple, binding on it that you just like flip open, and it's got like a. I forget what they're called, but you know how it's like shimmery, holographic kind of cover on it?
Yeah.
I see exactly what it is.
Great.
He's gonna take it. He's gonna scratch something on it. Hand it back to you. It is not a name. It looks like a strange glyph, probably something that predates a lot of languages. The one thing that you do feel, though, is whatever this glyph is supposed to mean, it makes you smile when you look at it. It like harkens back to a time that Morning never actually had. You were never a human child. But that glyph is the closest to feeling like a human child on Christmas morning. Or at least a human Christian child on Christmas morning.
I think that actually hits on one of the points why Morning is so excited here is because, like, Morning still believes in Santa Claus. Morning just learned what Santa Claus was this year and is like, that's the best ever. I love that. I believe that. And people are like, no, Morning, you don't get it. Santa Claus isn't real. And she's like, I think he is. It's like,
He actually is. He's a toy maker from Chicago.
amazing.
All right. Just because I have to do this, I want to review a point of legend and invoke Tongue of the Bard. I want to be actual read what this glyph says.
The glyph says joy. Just joy. It is a symbol that harkens back to Oh my god. To the time of Podbelly Hill, Göbekli Tepe.
Okay.
It is basically a language that is roughly 11,000 years old. We're talking maybe, I'm gonna say, the step after cave painting. It's a little more complicated than that, but we're talking Neolithic period. Like back when you could probably count the number of humans on the planet. You could just go around and make a census rather easily because there was less than 1 million people or something like that.
Yeah.
And this is just, yeah, the symbol they had for joy. It's very basic. It looks,
Amazing.
from what you can see, it reminds you of a sunrise between two mountains. Kind of. You kind of have to squint a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like an M shape with sort of a circle over it, and then little lines. But the lines sometimes will cross like the entire glyph instead of just being those little like shiny lines that like rays that you would add to a sun if like a child was drawing it, or I would draw it because I draw like a child. But yeah, it's rather simple.
Simple yet profound.
But yeah, you can't boil it down to anything more than that.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Oh no,
I had-
that is
I had to do
fine.
it.
And he will, like, when you look at it and you understand it, you'll notice that Baptiste smiles a little.
I smile and nod back to him. And I get it. I understand. It's beautiful.
Morning just looks absolutely thrilled. She doesn't have to know that it is essentially joy to like be filled with joy. She's just like holding it like this.
So this warning, we kind of got sidetracked up. I haven't talked with other extended family members in quite some time, so you'll have to excuse the tensions. That warning and that net is someone going after us. Is that it? Is that why I have to watch my back?
We have had to confront others that were trying to go after other Scions like us. They're wanting our divine essence to try to do things to the net, whether it's to repair it or bring it down or alter it in there to steal another pantheon's word. It's tried to create the god, create it in their own image, kind of thing. We don't know for sure, but one of the things that can do that is the divine essence out of one of us. So if nothing else happens from us meeting with you here today, I implore you, watch your back.
And if it's okay, we'd like to stay in touch somehow so we can let you know what's happening.
Oh, yes, you can just call the
Just send a letter
store.
to the North Pole.
No, that doesn't.
Don't be
That's
silly,
just
Kieran.
the,
This
the
is
postal
Chicago.
service.
To be
Um,
guessed, the
This one
North
gets
Pole
you.
was part. North Pole thing was probably part of the legal agreement.
they can do whatever it is that they want to do with it. They'll handle, and by they I mean the adult mortals. They'll do whatever, and I mean in many instances, I do not make the entire world's toys. I make some. Mine are more
Personal.
you know what? What's your afternoon looking like?
I mean, we flew all the way out to Chicago on a private jet, so
Oh, you
I
come
think
from
we're free.
means.
yes. We own a business.
We have acquired means. Well, for some of us, it's acquired. We'll put it that way.
It's a generous we.
Yes, well, one of the things that is nice about coming from where I come from is that I don't need money. But if your afternoon is free, would you mind accompanying me? I normally don't do personal deliveries, but there's this give me just a second. Gotta find my note. Local university. Got a children's hospital. It's a few ways away from here. I normally will just walk, but I want to show you something.
Would be an honor and a privilege, sir.
Right? Let's go. And he will, accompany you back through the store. There is a brown cardboard box on the counter near the entrance that wasn't there when you came in. It's completely unmarked. And he picks it up and makes his way with you to on foot to the hospital. He's a little startled by midnight outside. And he's going to ask you questions about you, where you're from, what have you done with your gifts so far. You are free to let me know what it is that you want to tell them or not. Because it is like a 1 hour walk, so we'll just paraphrase through it. He goes on a lot of tangents.
Just a reminder, Morning has no filter and keeps no secrets from anyone, so. That's it.
Finbar would share his family background and all that, including Nama and all the things he's done through the university and such.
And D?
Dee we'll share, what she's done. But she's a little more tight-lipped, I think, on this trip. Like a little uneasy.
When you near the hospital, he will stop to open the cardboard box, which is roughly the size of a backpack, really. It's like, like 2.5, maybe 2 feet long by, I don't know, almost a foot high, or I should say thick. And when he opens it, he retrieves from it it's a giant pink teddy bear plushie. But by giant, I mean the thing is like human size. It is huge. It's one of those like giant cuddly animals that was like compressed in the box, almost like vacuum sealed in it. He is going to, as he does so, just casually ask Dee, is everything well with you? You seem preoccupied.
If it's all the same with you, do you mind if I just wait in the entrance over here?
Oh, absolutely. I'll be just a minute. If any one of you wants to follow me.
But she'll reach into her bag and she'll take like a little like carved multi-tailed fox. I think you have the judgment. Feel free to give this to anybody here.
And you give it to Baptiste?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to take it and look at it very, like, every angle, every detail on it. This is beautifully made. You made that yourself.
I have to have some hobbies. And I think it's if you can sense such thing, there's a lot of there's like positive, like divine energy in it.
Out of character.
Yeah.
What is it?
D is using a boon.
Okay.
So through this, she's gonna imbue one legend to the hospital itself for divine providence.
Oh. Wait, is that one of your casuals?
No, it's I think it requires to imbue one legend.
Okay, so it's an actual boon.
Yeah, boon, yeah.
boon.
Oh yes, a boon.
Yeah. Like yeah. So it just gives a general fortuitous blessing to an organization or
Oh, okay.
something, not a single person.
Okay. Interesting. He will take it, smile a little, and will proceed to go to the hospital. In fact, he has an appointment with seems like a nurse or like the head nurse.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to hand her over the giant teddy bear as promised. He's like, I got a little delayed. I said I would be here this morning, but you know how it is. Ha ha ha, small talk. Hands over the teddy bear. And he will tell the nurse that a friend of his also wanted to give her the figurine. And he asks her to leave it in like on a counter somewhere that would be like visible. Just maybe somewhere with a view to the waiting room. And without anything more than that in that conversation, he'll motion for you to leave as he exits the hospital, and will explain once you're outside that this teddy bear, there are millions of it in the world. Hundreds of thousands. Anyone can get their hands on it. Humans have replicated the toys that he's created countless times. But the ones he make, like this one. And there's a knowing look towards D as he explains, because he figures you know what he's doing. Any kid that will hug the plushie will miraculously feel better. It might not be it's not going to cure their diseases, because that's a downright miracle, which he doesn't seem to be able to do. But it's going to improve their chances a lot, and it's going to, for as long as they hold the bear or they play with the bear, make them forget about the pain and the rest. And he says, that's what I can do, and Santa Claus can't. But that's also why I would step on a lot of toes. Because some gods had vested interest in making sure that these young ones suffered. And that's just callous and inhumane.
Thank you.
So, he pats himself down, gets a business card, hands it out to whoever wants to take it. It's the store's, it's got a name, the name of the store, the phone number. It's very bare bones, kind of like his office. It's very just a white piece of cardboard with the name and the phone number written in Arial font. Nothing fancy to it. But he says, if you ever need to get in touch with me, that is where you can reach me until they, I don't know, invent something better than telephones, I guess. It's kind of awkward. I guess this is where we part ways, or was there anything...
We'll keep in touch.
We'll keep in touch. That's all right. You'll have a wonderful rest of your search, and I hope that whatever bad news you have or things are happening, I think you have it figured out. I think the world is in good hands.
You keep doing the work that you do, we will do ours, and we'll make sure that we're both able to continue.
Well, you have yourself a wonderful night then.
And I hope it doesn't involve you as little as possible, just so you can keep doing what you're doing.
If something does happen, do you have a way to defend yourself?
I don't like to think about that. But if it does come to it, I have an army of giant bees.
That's true.
It's fair.
And bees are wonderful. Did you know they can cook creatures alive?
Yeah, I saw the Hornet video, so yeah, that would... It's a good point. It's a good point.
I never had to use them, and I hope I never will.
Yes, too, that you never have to.
And also, I guess, I would need your... he pats himself down again, gets a cell phone out. It's an older flip phone. I guess I should need your contact information, because then, yes, if trouble does come to me, I guess having friends on speed dial is a good thing.
Morning absolutely grabs it first to put her number in. And just says, "It was so nice to meet you."
The pleasure was all mine. You are the first friendly extended family I've seen in ages. Literally.
Yay!
While Morning's doing that, Finbar just beams his information over to him on his phone.
Put that in there. Next.
He doesn't have to like motion; it's already there.
Oddly enough, it just appears. And he goes, huh. Well, you, I guess I'll see you later.
Take care, good sir.
It's been a pleasure.
He never moves from where he is, like by the side of the road near the parking lot of that hospital. He just stays there awkwardly, bidding you farewell over and over again. As if he's not quite used to interacting with people anymore.
All right, we should go.
Yeah, okay. I've been leading midnight this whole time, and so I think Morning is just absentmindedly kind of petting his mane.
It's a couple of
Definitely
kids outside
seems a
looking
little
at it.
distracted. Yeah. Oh, she will wave at them. Yeah.
They, some of them freeze, just like wide-eyed.
I think if they're watching, she'll put on a little show and like kind of jump up onto Midnight, circle a little bit closer, do a little bit of a pose, and then continue onward.
Awesome, and it's with that we're going to end today's session. The October version of the Christmas episode, I guess.
I love it.
Our Halloween episode featuring Santa Claus.
Yeah, there wasn't really anything spooky, but
No.
that's
Didn't need it.
yeah, nope.
I'm happy.
Thank you everyone for coming. This was our first session back from the summer break and the convention season break. We'll be back next week for more Scion, but in the meantime, and I'll do my spiel at the end, I'll leave my players shout out where they are, what they're doing, where you can find them and all that. We'll do the same order as we did the intros, so we'll start with Finbar.
All right, I'm Hawkeye, Kateki Hawkeye. You can catch me on my Twitch channel, Hawkeye's Old Time Gaming Emporium, where Monday nights, my daughter and I are currently working our way through LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, or as we prefer to call it, The Further Adventures of Mouse Droid, as we're trying to 100% the game out. Tuesday nights, you can catch me in The Legend of Ben de Mustaine. He is a D&D character that I've played for a while that I'm recreating on Baldur's Gate 3, so we're going through that game series there. And then Wednesday nights is Grappler's Keep, my WWE 2K23 universe, where a number of characters from all of your favorite tabletop RPG genres compete in a ring we lovingly call the Dice Tray. We are working our way towards our next premium live event, the Dirty Deeds pay-per-view, our version of Extreme Rules. We've now, with all of our new wrestlers, we now have all of our championship belts crowned, and we've had a couple of controversial changes already in the belts. So, be interesting to see how those carry on in the pay-per-view. Then, otherwise, you can catch me here on Saturdays as well. And if you're listening closely, you can catch me in some cameo appearances on Praxis channel on Sunday nights as well. So, that's where you'll be able to catch me here. Otherwise, Cancer Cleric by day, RPG Fanboy by night.
thank you for coming. D.
Hey everyone, it's great to be back playing Godlings with everyone else here after our little break. You can find me on I think Sundays on that very channel on channel on Twitch for Carousel Court, where I think they're getting to the 80s, and I need to catch up myself on that, see how everyone's doing on that. And you can catch my art pretty much any place on social under Gremlin Art, so be sure to see all the art that I'm doing throughout the time.
Thank you for coming. Morning. I'm using character name.
Hi, my name is Renee Rhodes. I've been playing Morning today. You've also seen occasionally Kiri, my cat, as a guest appearance. I am around still currently on Twitter. I am trying to be a little bit more frequently on Blue Sky and Threads. You can find me at RayDNR on Twitter and RayDN on those other platforms. Also, including other platforms that I'm not on as frequently, like Instagram, but hopefully will continue to work on presences there as spoons allow. I'm really glad to be back with this group today. It's nice to stream again for the first time in a while, and I've missed y'all and our story. I am in my kind of one other big thing, interviewing for the host of the One Shot podcast. Yep, it's sorry, my cat is also trying to knock a pencil off my desk at this very moment. And she's very distracting. Anyway, I did this thing. I ran a game called Animon Story with an amazing cast of players, and the auditions have continued over there. So I am one of, I believe, 4 that have released so far. I'm not sure if there's a 5th or if there are just 4, but you can check out those episodes over in the One Shot podcast feed. The pencil is off the desk, and at that point I think I'm just going to say, yeah, check it out. I'm very anxious and nervous about it. You can leave a form review for how I did and stuff, and we'll see what happens.
Awesome, thank you very much for coming. And lastly, Kieran.
Karen, I'm Hannah. You can find me at Hanimation Art on Twitter, Hanimation on Blue Sky, and Hanimation Studios everywhere else. You can also find me tomorrow at, I think, 8:30 or 9 p.m. Eastern over on High Shelf Collective for a game of Ghosts of El Paso. And then on Wednesday, I will be joining the cast of Below the Land of Fire over on Laugh Love Lindy's channel to play some Call of Cthulhu. And then back again here on Saturday for more Scion. Super, super excited. Also, you can find my shop in the link below. Nightbot has given a convenient way to find it, and if you use the code WanderingDM, you can get 10% off your order. Sponsorship.
Yep. That should have been updated during break, but I can see that it's not. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sponsoring the show. As for me, I'm Simon at WanderingDM. You will see me back here at 8:30 p.m. on Monday for more Montreal by Night. As we are continuing our 4th season. A reminder, we're going to be playing Vampire this coming Monday and the Monday after, and then we're going to take a break for the month of November as we are going to have the first public playtest of a game I've been working on for the last 2 years. We're starting on the 6th of November, and for the entirety of the month, it is a horror game called One Frightful Night that I am very happy to finally showcase to people. If you're interested in horror, I know it's after Halloween, but whatever.
There's no wrong time for horror.
And yeah, that's it. We're going to be playing in a game that I have called, for now, just The Neighborhood. And then we'll be back in December for the rest of Vampire, and then every Saturday here at 1 p.m. Eastern for Scion. And I think it's going to be it. I have other stuff in store, but it's going to have to wait until I can reveal some more. So on that, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the chat interactions. Thank you for the subs. And thank you players for taking time off your Saturday to come play Scion with me. See you next week. Bye-bye.